spent 13 years in school. You learned the quadratic formula, Pythagorean theorem, dissected animals, learned about Greek gods, random wars that had absolutely nothing to do with us, but nobody, no class, taught you how to not be broke. No one explained credit cards, mortgages, investing, budgeting, lifestyle creep, compound interest, or why your 20s are literally the most important part of your financial life. I'm not mad, just stating facts. We were set up for failure and to follow the system. So today, we're going to fix that. This is the intro to personal finance class that you never got. If you're still here after the intro, you must be interested in building a life that doesn't suck and building a life where you're not always broke. We're going to cover 6 simple topics today: why your paycheck isn't for face value, credit scores, compound interest, simple budgeting, simple investing, and a mindset that can break all of this. So you get your first real job. To make numbers simple, we're going to assume that you just agreed on a salary of $48,000 a year. That's $4,000 a month. So you build your budget, build all your expenses, build everything off of $4,000 a month, and boom, you get your paycheck. It's less than $3,000. What's the deal? I bet no one taught you about taxes. Federal tax, state tax if you're in a state that has state income tax, Social Security, and Medicare that none of us will ever use. Pre-tax benefits like insurance, investing, which you're obviously not prepared for yet. All of this stuff comes out before you get a single dollar of your paycheck, and no one tells you this. First off, find out if you have a state income tax or not. If you do, you need to calculate that also, but for the basics of this video, we're going to assume you just have federal tax. So you can Google, you can go to the IRS website or whatever website you choose, just Google paycheck tax calculator or something simple like that. Put your salary in and let it calculate your actual take-home pay before you make a huge mistake. I know this sounds super simple, but you'd be surprised that the majority of the people do not know this and do not know how to calculate this. So now you're already ahead of a lot of people. Let's get you even further ahead. What's a credit score? So the credit score is pretty much your financial reputation to banks or anyone that you're going to borrow money from. If you're just starting out, your credit score is 0. You have absolutely nothing to lose and only to gain, but you can really screw this up if you don't treat it properly. Having a good or bad credit score can make or break your life, and it will follow you absolutely everywhere. It costs you more on mortgages, car loans, anything that you have to take a loan out for. You will pay significantly more money with a bad credit score. So how do you build or take away from your credit score? So your credit score is pretty much built up of 4 things: payment history, credit utilization, length of credit history, and how many open credits you have. So payment history. Did you pay on time? Did you miss anything? The key is never miss a payment at all. The next one, credit utilization. How much of your available credit are you using? And they will calculate this for you. For a rule of thumb, keep it under 30%. So if your credit limit's $1,000, don't have a credit of more than $300 at a time. Length of credit history. Banks don't know your history if you don't have a history, so you're going to have to build a history. All of us are going to be at a disadvantage at first because we don't have a length of credit history, but if your credit history is good, you can change this for the future. And then the last one. While you're building credit, don't go apply for 10 credit cards at once because you saw some hack on YouTube. Granted, this is a good idea in the future, but don't do this at first. You don't want to have a wide variety of different credits when you don't have a history or you don't have a good history. You also don't want to add any new credits while you're applying for a mortgage because this will ding your credit score immediately as soon as you apply, which is going to affect your mortgage rate. So how do you build an 800 credit score when you're starting from 0? Get a credit card that pays you points and use it for small charges, subscriptions, groceries, something like that to stay under your max credit utilization and pay it off every single time. This is a surefire way to build you a credit score before you actually need credit for a mortgage or something large. So let's talk compound interest, a young person's greatest advantage. If you watched my first video, I gave an example of investing $500 a month and comparing 2 people that started at age 20 and started at age 30. You can go watch that other video. But long story short, that difference in 10 years cost the person that started 10 years later $1 million by the time they were 60 years old. The principle of compound interest is simple. Let's say you have $100 and you make 10%. You made $10, now you have $110. If you get another 10% return, you're getting a 10% return on $110, and now you've made $11 instead of $10. I know this is a super simple example, but you can look at the compound interest curve and see that time is in our favor. This will grow exponentially the earlier you start. Compound interest doesn't always work in the positive direction. It can work in the negative direction also. So if you take out a high interest loan, the compound interest curve is working exponentially against you, not for you. So keep that in mind also. We'll get into that in a future video, but simply put, pay off all high interest debt, period, as quick as you can. And when I mean high interest debt, I don't mean mortgages, student loans, things that are actually useful. You need to pay off high interest junk debt like cars, personal loans, credit cards, all the stuff that doesn't add value and doesn't create you a return. You need to pay those off first. We'll talk more about that in a later video, but let's move on. So how do you get positive compound interest working for you immediately? See if your employer offers a 401k. If they do, we'll talk about that later. Contribute to it. If they do not, open a Roth IRA. We can talk about that in a future video also if y'all are interested. If they offer a 401k and a 401k match, simply start out and contribute the matched amount. If they're going to match 6%, contribute 6% of your paycheck. That is an absolute no-brainer. That is a 100% return on your money. If you put $5 in, you're getting a $5 return because the company puts $5 in as a benefit to you. Like I've talked about in earlier videos, you don't have to invest a ton, you just need to start. Now. So let's talk simple budgeting. And again, budgeting is not rigid, it's not gospel. Everyone's going to find something that works for them. You don't even have to be super strict about this, but you need something and you need to know where your money goes. You need to know what percentage of your take-home goes to needs, and that's rent, mortgage, groceries, utilities, transportation, anything that you absolutely need to live. And then what percentage goes to your wants? That's eating out, subscriptions, Starbucks, hobbies, travel, junk you buy from Amazon, anything like that. And then also, you need to allocate a percentage to savings and paying off high interest debt. You need an emergency fund, money that you're contributing to your investments, making extra payments to pay those loans off, and things like that. I'm going to let you decide that, but you need to know where your money goes. I personally would automate the savings, debt payoff, and investment portion because to me that's the most important part. If you do a 401k, this is easy. You don't see that money. It comes out of your check before you even see it. If you don't have a 401k and you have high interest debt, you need to automate auto deposits to your emergency fund, auto deposits to your Roth IRA, and auto extra loan payments so that you don't even see that money and you don't have to do it every time and you're not going to forget. There are systems at each of these financial institutions that will let you do this automatically and you have to do it. If you don't do this automatically, you're going to see, oh, I have extra money left. I'm going to use this on wants and I'm not going to invest and I'm not going to pay off my high interest debt. If you do this automatically, this is that reverse psychology that just gets that money out of the way and you pretend you don't even have it. So let's talk investing, and I know I'm going to have to make a video on this because there are lots of terms and lots of thought processes that you don't understand right now, and that's totally okay. Right now I'm going to give you one tidbit to go do research on, and that is index funds, specifically an S&P 500 index fund. The S&P, or Standard & Poor's 500, is the United States' largest 500 companies, and this is an index fund, basically a basket of a little portion of a stock of each of those 500 companies. This diversifies you. You'll follow the market. It's something easy to track. You can always track on the value of the S&P 500 to give you a general idea of where your money's going. This is not gambling. This is not a get rich quick. You're not picking a single winner. You're picking the entire market. I don't know anyone that would bet for the failure of the top 500 companies in the U.S. It's just not going to happen. This is a proven recipe for success over hundreds of years. Why would you not do it? If you don't know how to do it, I'm going to be very simple. If you invest in a 401k fund with your employer, they are also going to use index funds. If you don't, and you open a Roth IRA with Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, whatever financial institution you choose, They also have low-cost index funds, and you should use those. Remember, an S&P 500 index fund that is auto-deposited out of your check every time you get paid. You can pick the amount, and remember, you just need to do it now. I also need to add one more tidbit. Yes, investing can be risky. Yes, you don't want your entire savings to go into investing. So you need an emergency fund. This is 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high yield savings account that still gives you a little bit of return on your money. This is going to keep you from having to withdraw from your investments and pay a penalty or have to pay taxes in a crisis, emergency. You know, the dishwasher goes out, you get in a wreck, you have car issues, any major expenses need to be covered by this emergency fund before you start investing. So now that you're financially ahead of most people, let's talk about the cancer that can kill all of this without you even knowing. That cancer is called lifestyle creep, aka keeping up with the Joneses. You get these investments, you get a better job, now you need a more expensive car, nicer clothes, nicer house, all this random junk that doesn't matter because you're still young and you have absolutely nothing to prove except keeping up with others around you, and no one cares. You're not behind those people because they have nicer things. I guarantee you they have less money in the bank, less investments, and will be less successful in the future, and they'll still be working to maintain this nice house, nice car, nice clothes, and you're retired sitting on the beach somewhere because you prepared while you were young to get out of this trap. The fact that you found this video means you're in the right direction. You were curious on how to get out of this trap or how to not get in it to begin with. Financial literacy isn't taught because it's hard or complicated. It's taught because the entire financial institution benefits from you being dumb and uneducated. Think about the banks. The banks make money off of you taking out loans for dumb stuff you can't afford just to impress others. Don't be a beneficiary of the system. Be a beneficiary of your own action. So, a quick recap. Find out your actual take-home pay. Taxes suck. Build your credit intentionally with these methods. Start investing early, even if the amount's small. Find a budget and a system that works for you. Get an emergency fund, and do not fall into lifestyle creep. If any of this helped you, if this headed you in the right direction, drop a comment because I may take one of your comments as an idea for a future video. And subscribe if you want more videos like this because this is the journey to building success as a young person. This is Two Tire Trek, where we talk about life behind bars.